Good morning, students. Today, we're looking at the manufacturing account. Now, the manufacturing account, although it is a very long account, is a very exciting account. Our objectives for today are, after going through this PowerPoint, you should be able to state the purpose of a manufacturing account, define the terms, direct costs, prime costs, indirect costs. Identify the different types of stocks in a manufacturing account and calculate prime cost and production cost. What was the purpose of a manufacturing account? The purpose of a manufacturing account, students, is to calculate the total cost of goods manufactured for a business within a certain period of time. Now you may ask, what are these types of businesses? What are considered manufacturing businesses? Examples are Juicy Patties, Grace Kennedy, and Lasco Limited. Now, in defining the terms manufacturing, we know that manufacturing, it means creating something, making something, building something. So managers need to know how much it costs the business to produce its goods, how much it costs. Lasco need to know how much it costs them to make these sweet flavor Lasco. There are different types of costs in a manufacturing account. Now you may ask, what are these types of costs? They include direct costs, which of course are those costs that can be directly traced to the production of the goods. Yes, you know that they're actually a part of it. For example, if you're baking a cake, flour is a must, sugar is a must, right? And the person who is going to bake the cake, who is going to mix the ingredients, of course, that represents your labor. So that would be a part of the direct cost. And then you have royalties, of course. Persons want to know that they own their product. Indirect costs. Indirect costs cannot be traced, but they are important. It may be that the place is dirty, so you need to pay somebody in order to get the place clean. You may need light because the place is dark. So that's another indirect cost. Prime cost, very important. This represents direct material, direct labor, and direct expenses. Production cost represents the total of direct costs and indirect costs. So the total of direct costs, which would be your direct material, your prime cost, and your indirect cost, that gives you your production cost. Total cost represents your production costs, your production cost, plus your administrative expenses and selling and distribution expenses. Now, the administrative expense and selling and distribution expense will come in part 2 of this lesson. Now, there are different types of stocks in manufacturing account. You have the inventory of raw material. Then there's the work in progress, partly finished goods, and there's their finished goods. These are ready to be sold, goods that are ready to be sold. Now, we're going to use this question, student, in order to calculate the different types of costs that we have been looking at so far. So, let's look at this question. We have inventory at the beginning and the end, and we have work in progress at the beginning and the end, right? And we have the different types of costs that are there that we need to use. So the first thing we're going to be calculating is the direct material. This is also known as the cost of raw material consumed. So we are going to use opening inventory of raw material, which is given in the question. To that, we are going to add the purchases and the carriage. Then we add and get 97. We're going to subtract closing inventory. And of course, this is our figure for raw material consumed. So it's opening inventory plus purchases less inventory, closing inventory gives you your cost of raw material consumed. Let's go now to prime cost. To get prime cost, we are going to use the cost of raw material consumed, add all direct expenses, which includes the direct wages and the direct expense, to get your prime cost. Then we are going to calculate production cost. Production cost would be their prime cost added to all your indirect costs. Then you're going to add your work in progress at the beginning, which is 350, less your work in progress at the end, which is 450, to get your production cost of goods completed. All these figures, they can be found in the question. Just refer to the question, right? So to get your production cost, it's your prime cost plus your indirect cost, add your opening work in progress, less your closing work in progress, and you get your production cost of goods completed. Now, students, what you're going to do for me is that you're going to use the different types of cost. The direct material consumed, all of that, come to the prime cost. Then you're going to add your indirect cost, get your production cost, and all these costs that we have put together, direct cost, prime cost, production cost, you are going to create for me a manufacturing account which will include all these costs. And I want this submission on your Schoology account by Monday at 12 noon. So, students, it was very nice having you today. I hope that you would have learned a lot from this lesson, and see you next week.